Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining the To Hull and Back podcast. I'm your host, Nathaniel, and tonight I'm joined by Rory from the Boothen Roarcast. So, Rory, thank you very much for coming on.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And we're proudly sponsored by Old Zoological Bar and Kingfisher Quality Fish and Chips in Hull. So, it's been a while since I've done one of these, especially a preview. And, it's been a while since City have played. We've had 3 weeks off. So interesting to get the opposition perspective before what I think is a must-win for City. But is it going to be a must-win for Stoke as well?
I think it's not as such a must-win, but I think it's one we do need to at least get a point out of, because obviously the more points we can pick up, the better. It is really crucial because we sit 19th in the table. We're practically fighting relegation near enough. And I suppose whatever happens underneath us is key for us as well. So in a way it's crucial, but in a sense it could be a point can keep us at somewhat safe distance, but a win is a win. We've got to have a good performance as well.
So just give us a bit of perspective on what's happening at Stoke City. How's the club being run at the moment? Because I know they came down from the Premier League just a year after us and not gone down to League One like we did, but spent a lot of money, not really seen the benefits of that. And now I think, is it a bit of an aging squad, or at least it used to be? So why has it gone wrong this season?
I wouldn't say we've got an aging squad. I feel like we've got quite a young squad, really. I think we've got one of the youngest squads in the team, in the league. You look at our academy as well. We bring a fair few academy lads in and put them on the bench, specifically, Nathan Lowe, Amiri Tezgal when he's with the club, or he's on loan at MK Dons at the minute. David Okabu when he's about. We've had Tommy Simpkin. And I feel like that you'd see in a lot of the academy lads' pace and speed, but it narrows. But I think this season it's just been a bit of a bumper ride. Obviously we sacked Alex Neil in November, given we signed 18 players in August, those with specifically great talent, like Svondre Vidigal. He came in, lived up to the hype of scoring loads and loads of goals, but then he got injured and he hasn't scored since, I don't think. But I think what's key for us is the performances have dipped dramatically. We lost 5-0 to Leicester. We lost 3-1 to you guys in September at the Bet365. But since Steven Schumacher's come in, performances have slowly started to pick up, but the defensive back line is just not what it should be. And we just can't seem to have the final ball and finish the final ball off.
Would you say that with the 18 players coming in, because City struggled with sort of team cohesion after signing, I think it was 18 last summer themselves as well, that a lot of the players haven't gelled?
We had that term for a long time. We'll just let them gel. I'm sure they'll gel. But I think after, I'd say about October time, everyone got frustrated. Well, why haven't they gelled yet? What's going on? But I think what a couple of people didn't realise is not a fair few of them players hadn't played in the Championship. Especially as well, if you look at the January transfer window, Beijun Ho, he came in and he's definitely put a starlight for himself. I think a couple of them came in, they knew what they had to do, but it wasn't, you can't just rely on the new signings. You've got to rely on the boys who know the club by the back of the hand, know the fans, know that what we expect as fans, because people think when you come to the Bet365, I know back in the Premier League days we were one of the most intimidating clubs to come to. The noise, the changing rooms, the away changing rooms, awful, pure white, not freezing cold, they are freezing. But now you look at us and think, well, they can't get a win at home, they can't score a goal, so we could go there, take what we want and leave. But I think we've got the squad on paper, but put that paper on the pitch, it doesn't seem to go as well as us as fans and our owners think, but what us as fans get to say doesn't always come true, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, that sounds a little bit similar to us, because especially last season, when pretty much every player we signed would immediately get injured, and then they'd be injured for 2 months, they'd play 2 games, and then they'd get injured for another 2 weeks, and that just happened every time. Also, it didn't help. Half the players we signed were already injured, so they couldn't make their debut for a while, which doesn't help.
Stoke have got a thing for that as well.
It doesn't set you up for success, but yeah, that sort of waiting for them to gel can get a bit frustrating. But do you think that Stoke have enough in the squad, if it's, you have brought in a lot of players to stay up? I mean, I can see you've got 9 points from 7 games, slightly better than relegation form. Do you think, even though there are a lot of clubs down there, are you concerned or not?
Yes and no. I mean, I feel like a lot of the players have got the passion, but the performance isn't there. I feel like it will go down to goal difference dramatically. I said this on the Relegation Rivals podcast the other day. I think it will definitely go down to goal difference, because there's that many 4-2 losses or 5-0 wins just randomly out the blue, that it's really unexpected. And I think that's the problem with the Championship. It is so unpredictable. And I feel like that's quite fun in some senses, but it's also not fun when you're sat scraping relegation. I think we will scrape staying up, but fingers crossed we don't get relegated. I think we will see a lot of players go, but fingers crossed. I think we will scrape survival just about.
Yeah, I think at the moment, at certain points in the season, there were sort of 2 guarantees, and then the middle 22 clubs were anyone can beat anyone. I think Leicester was so far ahead at the top of the league, although we're one of the few teams to have not been beaten by them this season.
Exactly.
And then we know Rotherham are rubbish.
They're going down, definitely.
They're on the beach, even though they're not even relegated yet. I don't know how that works, but they're gone. Although now it seems that Leicester have actually been dragged back into it. So, yeah, it is very unpredictable. I wouldn't be hugely concerned about the goal difference coming to us. Even when we do win games, it can be a bit of a battle of attrition, where we've had all the possession but don't create many chances. So how does Stoke play? Were they how they were in the Premier League when under Tony Pulis, just lumping the ball long, or have they got a bit more sophisticated nowadays?
I wouldn't say we're lumping the ball long. I think we do sit back, and I don't think we watch the back line as well as we should do. Like I said earlier, I think our final ball's shocking. I mean, you look at Lewis Baker, he doesn't score many, but he can score a crucial goal when it's needed. Get the guy on a free kick and he'll swift it if he can. But I do think we sit back, but then we attack too much too late. So we'll go for the last 80 minutes and everyone's like, oh yeah, we've had a great final 10 minutes. But that final 10 minutes hasn't seen the rest of the 80 minutes out, which that 80 minutes could have got us, 2-3 goals. And I think that is the problem, unfortunately.
So, I mean, we're approaching April now. So the January transfer window sort of a bit further in the rear view mirror, but do you think Stoke strengthened in January? I mean, you mentioned one player already who came in and improved the team.
I think we aimed to do that. We brought in Daniel Iverson. He didn't really set off the best of tones, unfortunately, straight away. But I think slowly, as he's coming towards the team, I feel like he's understood sort of the way the back line works. I mean, it is probably the most floppiest back line in the Championship, unfortunately. But obviously, Beijing Ho, he's come in and he's shining, to be honest. He's just come back from internationals, so hopefully we will see him make an appearance tomorrow. Well, I think he came back on Monday, I want to say. But yeah, I think we had a few players. I can't remember all of them off the top of my head. But I wouldn't say they made the most of differences, but I feel like the minor aspects were there. And if you really look closely, I think you can see some differences. obviously in Beijing-Ho especially.
Mm-hmm. So the manager's Stephen Schumacher, who is at Plymouth.
Yeah.
And I mean, we know how easily managers can get sacked in the Championship. He came in after Alex Neil had a poor start. Has he improved things? And do you suspect that he could be a good manager if he keeps you up and progress into next season?
I feel once he's got a summer transfer window behind him, obviously with him only being a head coach, he doesn't always get the say on, well, he won't get the say on exactly who they sign, but he can put forward who they'd like us to sign. Obviously, when he came in November, December, I think it was now, he did a decent run. You know, his first away game was Birmingham. We won 3-1 on Boxing Day. Absolutely great day. It felt like the club was coming back to itself again. And then we had a few draws. You know, we beat Rotherham again. And then it just sort of dipped slowly. I mean, I know for a fact the referees don't help. We should have got 3 points against Ipswich, which ended in a 0-0 draw. But, you know, the referees just like to ruin the game completely. Especially, I mean, we played Norwich and Gavin Ward. I'd love to know that guy is still in a job.
Yeah, ridiculous.
They just don't help the game at all. But I think Stephen Schumacher can make a difference if he can get a decent squad together. I think if we go down, we wouldn't sack him. I think we'd keep him to try and see what he can do. And obviously, given, say, the first half of the season he does rubbish, we sack him. But, yeah, I think I'd like to give him the chance if we can. Obviously, given we can stay up. But, yeah, I'd give him the chance.
I suppose he's done well in League One with Plymouth as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably good to have a manager that's been there and done it.
Yeah, exactly.
Partially, I'm not sure if he got promoted with Plymouth or
he
was
did.
he the Plymouth manager?
Yeah. He got promoted and then we
why is
brought
he still
him.
not at Plymouth then?
Because we brought him. So I think John Coates literally went, because people can track his helicopter. So we were rumoured with. I think we got rumoured with him once. He was one of the managers where I don't think a lot of people expected it. So now Plymouth fans are sort of forcing a rivalry because, you know, we've stole their manager and whatever, but they are now in the same position we are fighting relegation. So, the bottom 8. So I don't know the ins and outs, but from what apparently is going on, we went to Plymouth and brought him, but who knows?
Yeah, I mean, that's quite rare nowadays because you see managers getting criticised that, they've been sacked from every job they've been in. Well, 5-10%, maybe probably even less than that, of managerial appointments, especially in the EFL, are based on a manager being sacked. I mean, a team doing poorly, so they just hire a new manager. They very rarely take managers from other clubs whilst they're still there.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, and I appreciate, tracking the helicopter. We're always doing that with our owner and where he's going to visit in Europe with all the players we've been signing recently.
It's quite cool, to be fair, because, I mean, you just see him, like, randomly, like, so we see the headquarters of the Bet365 is quite decently close to the stadium, and this guy will get in his helicopter and he will fly over. It's really cool. I went for a women's inclusive event at the Bet365 and his helicopter was there. I'd never seen this helicopter like properly, and oh my god, it's crazy. It really is.
Does it have like Stoke City decals on the side?
I didn't look close enough, but I didn't see no massive Stoke City badge, which I was quite gutted about, to be fair. I think it's green and black. So
yeah, you've got to embrace it. I'd have, if I had my own helicopter, I'd have the tigers on the side. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, definitely. gotta make it known, don't you? Really?
Well, no, yeah. So Tyneside Tigers commented in. I anticipate us having a loss of the ball, which usually happens, especially at home, and this time, fortunately, scraping a win by 1 goal. You said that Stoke like to sort of hang back. So do you suspect sort of a lot of teams have been able to get a draw out of us? Birmingham recently, we dominated possession, had all the chances, but we just sometimes lack that bit of ruthlessness. So do you think that's the way Stoke are going to set up?
Yeah, I feel like I've predicted a 1-0 draw. 1-1, not 1-0. A 1-1 draw. And I think if we score first, I think we'll be okay. But you guys score first, I feel like we tend to lose our heads. I just hope that if you guys do score first, we don't lose our heads and we manage to scrape back a goal. But yeah, I've said 1-1.
Yeah, I think that's very reasonable. I mean, City, fans watching this will know under Lima Senior, since he was a manager, 1-1 at home is pretty much just the standard scoreline. Something really impressive needs to happen either way for it not to be 1-1. But usually what happens is we start poorly, the opposition team get one chance and they score. It's usually one big lump striker that we leave completely free. Allsop lets it go through his hands. We're 1-0 down. We dominate the game. We play like prime Barcelona for the next hour. We scrape an awful goal on the 80th minute, and then for the next 10 minutes when we have the momentum, the other team then dominates the ball and it ends 1-1. That's essentially what happened. It happened penultimate home game against Birmingham. And yeah, I just really hope that the same thing doesn't happen again, because sometimes it just feels like I'm watching the same game, but the kit's changed,
Yeah, I just hope it's made worth it, because I hate the long journeys. I travelled all the way to Sunderland to lose 3-1, 3.5 hours there, and then it took us 4 hours 20 to get back. So it's like, it'll be 2.5 to Hull tomorrow. So fingers crossed we at least put something out so we can actually have a good sing-song, because nothing beats the away day.
Yeah, so, I mean, if you get your hands on some of the food at half-time, I hear that's very good. I've
heard it's good.
Yeah, the famous footy scran. So I'm not sure if you were able to make this one yourself, but always ask for the opposition predicted lineup. So what were the 11 players you're expecting to line up for Stoke on Friday?
So I sort of teamed up with my mate for this one, because obviously it was a last-minute thing. So we've got Iverson in goal, and then we've got Thompson, Wilmot, Rose and Hoover. So it'll probably be a 4-3-3, sort of typical for Stoke. And we've got Josh Laurent, Beijun Ho and Lewis Baker. And then Vidigal, Ryan Mai and Million Manhoof. It's pronounced differently by everyone. But that's something along them lines, similar. Because Wouterberger's still suspended. We found out today that Lyndon Gooch and Ben Pearson are likely to be out till the end of the season, and Ender Stevens should be back tomorrow, fingers crossed. If not, it'll be Monday now. The barbecue loaded fries. Ooh, they sound nice.
They do. I suppose the second question there is, would you be happy if that was the lineup, or was that just what you're expecting?
I think, yeah, as long as we put out a good performance. I feel like with Stoke, it's everyone goes wild for the lineup on Twitter. Oh, that's rubbish, it's that. But then really they can actually go out and make a somewhat decent performance of it. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I just hope, and fingers crossed, just seeing that comment there by that Stoke fan, I do not want to hear you getting mauled by the Tigers. That is one chant that I hate. Out of, no matter, like, you see, you've got the Jamie Vardy chants and everything, but that mauled by the Tigers, no thanks.
It is cringe, but I think that's why we do it. And
it's funny, but it's
no other team has something like that, I don't think.
No, not that I can think of. I don't know what happened to the accent.
I mean, I do this at 1-0. Really, we should reserve it for an absolute tonking, but
I know, yeah. Oh, yeah, you're getting mauled by the Tigers at 1-0.
Yeah,
calm down.
I do it from the top of the West upper stand, so the away fans will have no idea what I'm doing. They can't see it. But in the North stand next door, then.
Yeah, it was September. I think it was 2-1 down, and that's all I could hear. And I literally had my head in my hands. I was like, no thanks, please stop. But it's all about football.
Okay, so we've got Appleton, Zachary, Stephen commenting in. Who's the star man for Stoke?
I think it would be Wouterberger, but obviously he's suspended, so I'd probably say Boothen Roarcast is gonna come out and maybe, you know, have your players. But if Wouterberger was on the pitch, it'd be Wouterberger, but Boothen Roarcast probably.
Yeah. So, what position does he play? Is he a winger or a right back?
Oh my god, off the top of my head, I think I can't remember off the top of my head. This is really bad. Oh my god, they've got him in the midfield in this one. Oh my god, this is really bad.
That's all right.
Bear with me.
Well, in the modern game, positions don't exist apparently.
Attacking midfield or left wing.
Yeah, okay. One of those vague players. About 50% of the Hull City squad are vaguely attacking.
Yeah,
number 10
I've seen him play on the wing and I've seen him play in the midfield, and like trying to remember his position, but then everyone else's position, I'm really forgetful when it comes. It's really bad. But
we usually play with about 4 number 10s and refuse to play a striker nowadays.
Typical with Stoke.
Billy Sharp, top Championship goal scorer of all time. Essentially, he's only the top Championship goal scorer of all time because he's ancient. So we haven't really got the benefit of that. It's not like if we had someone good up front. It used to be good a few years ago.
I don't know if that was me misreading that, but was it an absence of Liam Delap tomorrow?
Yes, Liam Delap.
Oh my god, I'm so glad.
Going to be back in 3 or 4 games, so we'll just have him for the last few, and fingers crossed the playoffs, although I'm leaning towards saying we're probably just going to miss out in 7th, but he's been a real...
I'm glad because he was woeful for Stoke and he's come to Hull and he's been brilliant, so I'm glad because then he can't score against us.
Well, indeed, yeah, because that's just the typical thing. I mean, I'm glad you've not got Tom Ince, James Chester, Nick Powell, and Sam Clucas because, of course, former players always score. I'm glad you don't have any anymore.
Well, Sam Clucas is with Rotherham, isn't he? Tom Ince is... I don't even know. I haven't seen nothing about Tom Ince in ages. Yeah, he's something like that, yeah. I haven't seen nothing about him. Yeah, because his dad got sacked and then he went, didn't he?
Yes.
Everyone was like, Paul Ince has been sacked, Tom Ince is going, and then next minute it was announced that Tom Ince is gone.
Just going to lag along behind him, yeah.
Yeah.
So you're predicting 1-1 draw?
I am, yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's very solid. I always, if it's a whole home match, the opposition says, 1-1, then yeah, would not be shocked at all. I think, we didn't win the last time we had one of these games against a team lower in the division. We think, we'll dominate the possession and have all the chances. But I'd like to think with the 3 weeks off, maybe we've remembered how to win games. We've had 4 draws in a row, so I don't think it would be a convincing game. Maybe Billy Sharp will finally get his first goal, so I'm going to go 1-0, but not massively confident on that one. But Rori, thank you very much for coming on. Just tell us a little bit about the content you do.
So I have a group on Facebook, and I'll put a pre-match post up, so where the game is, the last encounter between the 2 sides, and when the last sides both met. So obviously, in our case, it was September. Then obviously, sort of maybe how many fans are going to the game. So it'll just be a short briefing. It goes out at 7:00 in the morning every match day, and then I'll put the lineup out if I can get a signal. It'll probably be typical that I probably won't get signal tomorrow. And then it'll be a post-match report. So that's also available on Instagram as well, at the Boothen Roarcast.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, City fans listening in, definitely check those out, and I'm sure we'll be able to repost some of those for you as well. So, Rori, thank you very much for coming on. Been an excellent guest.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for all the abusive comments and rude emails and rocks through the window from all our lovely listeners. So keep it time. So thanks for listening, and we'll be back soon.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.